Alrighty, guys, we're still hitting at 61% our last 33 NFL tier package bets on my website. And I'll include a link for you for those plays in the description section below. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at the Colts at the Raiders, 4:05 Eastern start time. Las Vegas is -5, totals 43. And even though this is Jeff Saturday's first game as head coach for Indy, I actually have grave concerns about this Raider defense. They're allowing over 25 points a game, and they're in the bottom 5 in total yards allowed. They're also facing an Indy defense that should be relatively unfazed. Frank Reich was an offensive coach, so all their stuff on D should remain the same. Now, the Colts are allowing only 20 points a game, and they're in the top 5 in fewest yards allowed. They're really the only reason why this team as a whole, they're involved in any game. You know, they're the only reason why they stay competitive. Now, injury-wise, Brown, Taylor, and Stewart are questionable. Meanwhile, for the Raiders, Darren Waller is still questionable with that hammy. When it comes to the total, the Raiders saw their last 2 straight stay under the number. Unders against the likes of Jacksonville and New Orleans. Meanwhile, Indy saw all of their games this season stay under the total except for one. I'm going to lean toward the Colts +5, under 43. Next game, Cardinals at the Rams, 4:25 Eastern start time. Arizona's the 1-point favorite on the road, totals 42. And as bad as the Rams have been, it's actually the Cardinals who lost 4 out of their last 5 as well. And they have some serious problems on defense. They're allowing 27 points a game, and they have one of the worst passing defenses in the league. They're also facing a Rams team who plays some pretty solid defense themselves. These guys are in the top 10 in fewest yards allowed. They're actually limiting their opponents to just 98 yards a game on the ground. Now, total-wise, LA is currently 75% to the under for the entire year. Meanwhile, 5 out of Arizona's last 8 stayed under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Rams +1, under 42. Next ball game, it is going to be Cowboys at the Packers, 4:25 Eastern start time. Dallas is the 4.5-point favorite on the road, totals 43. Now, the Cowboys should wipe the floor with these guys. They got the W in 6 out of their last 7. And they covered the number in all of those games I just mentioned, except for one. And not only can't you pass on these guys, well, Dallas is also in the top 3 in the league in points allowed per contest. The Cowboys are allowing only 16 points a game. Now, they're facing a struggling Green Bay offense who looks all out of whack, all out of sync. They're actually amongst the worst in the NFC in scoring. The Pack's currently on a 5-game losing streak, and their defense allowed 23 points or more in all of those games except for one. So really an organization in shambles right now, not getting the job done on either side of the football. Now, injury-wise, Campbell, Jones, Barnes, Stokes, Gene Charles, Watson, and Doubs, they're all listed as questionable for Green Bay. Meanwhile, for Dallas, Barr, Zeke, Brown, and Williams, they're questionable for them. Now, weather-wise, breezy and chilly at Lambeau on Sunday. 36 degrees by kickoff with a stiff breeze. Really, if you're leaning toward Green Bay, that's your only hope there because Dallas notoriously does not play well in cold weather. I really don't think it's going to matter in this game here. And when it comes to the total, Green Bay is 67% to the under for the year. Meanwhile, the Cowboys went 6-2 to the under on the season themselves. I'm going to lean toward Dallas -4.5, under 43. Next matchup, it is going to be Chargers at the Niners. That'll be an 8:20 Eastern kickoff Sunday night. San Francisco's the 7-point favorite at home, totals 45.5. And even though I hate this number in this spot here, this is a pretty big number, especially for the caliber of teams that are playing this one. So even though I hate this number, I do think the Niners can cover it. They're allowing fewer yards a game than any other franchise in the game right now. And they're also allowing just 18 points per contest. They're facing a Chargers team who's completely uncommitted to the run. These guys are in the bottom 5 in the league in rush yards per game. And even though they're uncommitted to the run, they're totally 100% committed to analytics, and they really make bad decisions with regard to third and short, fourth and short. Now, defensively, the Chargers are allowing more points a game than most clubs in the league right now. They're actually in the bottom 3 in total points allowed. When it comes to the injury report, Allen, Hopkins, and Tillery are questionable. Meanwhile, for San Francisco, Juszczyk, Armstead, Samuel, Greenlaw, and Jennings are questionable for them. When it comes to the weather report, clear skies and mild temperatures by kickoff. When it comes to the scoring, the Niners did see 3 out of their last 4 get over the total. Meanwhile, LA's 4-2 to the over in their last 6. I'm going to lean towards San Francisco -7 over 45.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It is going to be Commanders at the Eagles, 8:15 Monday night. Philadelphia is -10.5, totals 44. Now, I do think the Birds cover here. They're 5-2 against the spread in their last 7. And the 2 games they failed to cover were only by a couple of points. Now, offensively, the Birds are scoring over 28 points a game, and they're in the top 3 right now in total yards per contest. Meanwhile, defensively, they're also in the top 3 in fewest yards allowed per game. They're facing a Washington team who doesn't move the sticks all too well. They're averaging only 17 points a game, which ranks amongst the worst in the NFC. The Commanders also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8. Now, injury-wise, Mayo, McKissick, Holcomb, and Dotson are questionable. When it comes to the weather, 41 degrees and partly cloudy by kickoff. Weather should not be an issue here. Now, total-wise, Philadelphia saw unders against the likes of Arizona, Minnesota, and this very Washington team. They got about 100 sacks on Carson Wentz in their initial meeting this year. Meanwhile, the Commanders went 6-1 to the under in their last 7. I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia -10.5, and the under 44 in that tight window. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. I like Indy +5, under 43. LA Rams +1, under 42. And one final reminder, guys, that we are hitting at 61% our last 33 NFL tier package bets on my website. I like Dallas -4.5, under 43. San Francisco -7, over 45.5. And with my next and final free pick for the video, I like Philadelphia -10.5, under 44. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy week 10 to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.